For a lot of folks, charging their EV is no problem. They park at home, they have a garage, access to a charger, that sort of thing. They charge up overnight and they leave full every morning. But what about if you don't have access to a charger in a garage? Maybe you park on a street, maybe you're in an apartment dweller or condo, and there is no easy access to charging. You're going to rely on supercharging. So normally I do charge in a garage, but for today I thought I let the car cool down. It's 4 degrees Celsius. I'll put in a link what that is in Fahrenheit. And the car has been sitting at that temperature. It's not super cold, but it is cold enough that it would be a typical day throughout a lot of North America. It'd be around 4 degrees, especially if you were parking in a garage, under an apartment, that sort of thing. And the best thing is to charge the battery when it's hot. I'll put a link in the video here what the optimal charge speeds are when you're on a road trip or when you're coming home from work or something and the battery's warm is when you're going to get your fastest charge speeds. When your battery is at a low state of charge, around 10%, and you charge it up, you can add 50% in 15 minutes in a Tesla Model 3 2018 long range. This is more of the other end of the spectrum. What if the battery is cold? So we're gonna go see what it's like. I'm at 21% state of charge. The snowflake is showing on the battery. It is 4 degrees Celsius outside. I'm gonna precondition. It's about a 5 to 7 minute drive to a supercharger from here, and we'll see what kind of charge speeds we can get. Just to show the screen here, we are at 21% state of charge. The snowflake is showing. What the snowflake is meaning is that it's saying that part of the battery, this blue section showing right here, is unavailable to you. It is charged in the battery. If the battery warms up, you'll have access to that charge. So if you go on a long enough road trip and the battery warms up, you can get access to that charge. However, it's currently locked out because the battery is too cold. So the 21% we have left is, you can't get access to that blue section of the battery. So I just wanted to show that it is cold, and we're going to go charge it up now. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to navigate to a supercharger, and I'll just show you that in a moment. And that will precondition the battery to warm it up some. And again, we don't have very far to go. It's about a 5, 6, 7 minute drive to the supercharger, and we'll just see what kind of rate we can get. Okay, so to navigate to the supercharger, what we're going to just do is we're going to hit this button over here to see where the local superchargers are. And we got one here. 7 are available out of 8, so we're just going to tap that. You see we're at not a very busy time, and we're just going to hit this to navigate to that supercharger. It's a 10-minute drive, so okay, a little bit longer than I had thought. And we'll just take the default route there, and you can see here it says preconditioning battery for faster charging. That's already heating up the battery because it is quite cold with the snowflake there showing, and that'll give us our optimal charge. Now normally it probably would take at least a half an hour of driving, probably in this weather, if not a little bit more, to get the battery really warmed up with this. I'm only going to be driving for 10 minutes, so it's like simulating like I would leave my condo where I don't have access to supercharging. There's a nearby charger, it's just a few minute drive, and I'm going to just go fill up on electrons. And so it's kind of, it would be better if I would come home with the battery warm from work or from a drive somewhere and charge up the evening before or the day before, but it's not always possible. So how much time will I need to do this? Let's go find out. Okay, so plugging into a supercharger is pretty easy. You grab the handle, you press the button, stick it in. That's it. Okay, here we've started supercharging. Focus. There we go. So we're ramping up, and we are pulling 108 kilowatts at 21% with just a little bit of preconditioning. 123 kilowatt. This is a 150 kilowatt station, so You know, that's actually higher than I thought it was going to be. So here's your typical day. We're at 5 degrees. We just had a little bit of preconditioning. We came in at 20%. We pulled 133. It was up, peaked at 135 kilowatt. And we get a little bit better with the angle here. Got some glare on the screen. But it's ramping. Now it's around 124 kilowatt, which is actually pretty fast. At the superchargers, you register an account to your credit card. It negotiates with the car. It knows your car and your credit card that's registered, and here it's showing you the supercharger amount that it's charging at. This is one of the more expensive ways to charge your car. It does vary from supercharger to supercharger, and sometimes even by the time of day. So, and your home rates vary. So at home I can charge for about overnight, everything in, 12 cents a kilowatt hour. Here I've cost me just $2 just now, and I've put in 3 kilowatts. Sorry, 3 kilowatt hours, 4 kilowatt hours for $2. So that's like 50 cents a kilowatt hour compared to 12. Well, that's more like 4 times. But it does vary. Like it will, as I get to a higher state of charge and the charge rate drops, the session rate will drop as well. But still much cheaper than gas. Because to fully charge at home at 12 cents a kilowatt hour costs about $8 to charge my car for like the rated 499 kilometers of range. So even 4 times that would be $32, even with supercharging. And then of course, if you have access to your own plug, it becomes much cheaper to operate. It does say here, battery temperature low. Charging rate limited by low battery temperature. Vehicle is improving battery temperature to increase charge rate. So it actually does that with the electric motor. It uses the motor to generate heat in the motor. I think in the stators, and it then pumps coolant through there and then through the battery pack, which warms it up. So it's using some of the power to do that. There's a little eye information thing here. If I tap on that, oh, I see, it just brings up this information over here. Okay. So we started charging about 4 minutes ago at 10:40 a.m. We've added 10% range since then in 4 minutes. So 11%, 10-11% in 4 minutes. And I'll pause it for now, and we'll check in a bit and see where we are. The computer is estimating 40 minutes remaining to a 90% state of charge. And of course, while you're waiting for supercharging to complete, there are games and videos on here. You can go to theater and watch Netflix, Disney, YouTube, Twitch, those movies and things like that. Or you can play a game. So we can go to the arcade and let's see. I like the old school games. Let's play some Millipede. And I'm going to connect my controller and play a bit of this game. So this is not a paid promotion or endorsement or anything, but I use the Logitech F710 controller. It's a wireless controller. It comes with a little USB port. You just plug it in. And this controller works pretty good for games. So let's see. Now go play game. Okay. And I'm gonna start the game here. It's going to be tricky to play with one hand, but anyway, you can go around and fire. Oh. You can play with the steering wheel too. Actually, there's a bit of bias right now in the steering wheel. Oh no, I'm gonna, oh. That's it, I'm done. Okay, guys, I got one hand here, and the steering is a little bit, I gotta calibrate. There, good, okay. Oh, now we can come over. There we go. Oh. Anyway, you can pass the time with these games, it's pretty cool. Okay, so we've been here for 15 minutes, and we've gone from 20% to 49%. We're still charging at 73 kilowatt hours, and if we hit the information here, it still says we have a low battery temperature. So this is like it's not that maybe the worst case, but it's a typical worst case where you didn't charge when the battery was warm, coming home from a trip somewhere or from work. You left your car get cold soaked, so you had a snowflake. You're coming in, it's not super cold, but it's still like 4 or 5 degrees outside, and you have to charge because you want to go somewhere. And so we have picked up 30% range in 15 minutes. You know, the car's at 50% now, so that'd give you, like, realistically, well, rated it would give you up to 250 kilometers, but realistically probably a couple hundred kilometers of range, which might be enough to do what you want to do, and then you can charge later when the battery's warmer. But we'll just let this keep going a bit, say we need a bit more. Yeah, there's, like, most superchargers are located around places to eat or shop, and this one also has that. So you know, if I wanted to, I could go grab a coffee or something, or pick up a few items, grocery items or something like that while I waited. Or I could watch a movie, play a game, or I could just plan better and come in when the car is warmer. And again, we'll have that other link, the other extreme, on a road trip where I went from around 10% to around 60% in 15 minutes, and that was enough to drive another couple of hours on a road trip. So that's the other extreme for fast charging. But this would be kind of like a typical worst case where you had to charge where it's not super cold but typically cold, and the battery's cold soaked. Okay, we're at 25 minutes into the charge session. We're at 65% state of charge. Battery is still warming to give us increasing speed. We're charging at 62 kilowatts. So 25 minutes, okay. Now, like, it would be a time like, you know, that'd be about what I would don't want to spend too much more time here. I would like to get going, but 65%, I've added 45% of a charge in 25 minutes. And I have enough to get going. I might let this go just a little bit longer, but with 65% state of charge, 66% state of charge, I can drive, you know, probably 225 kilometers or something like that, 250 in wintry conditions. Rated, I could drive over 300 if it was warmer out, but at any rate, that's all I need for my day. And then I will be topping up later, when either at home in the garage, or if I need a supercharger session, I would pull in when it's warmer somewhere and just be able to charge faster. So again, we've seen it before where in 15 minutes I could add half of the battery when the battery's very warm on a road trip. Now when it hits 70%, we'll be adding 50% and closer to twice as long, half an hour. So that's kind of the typical range you could expect. Ideal conditions, you can add 50% in 15 minutes, and in less than ideal conditions, double it, about half an hour. And again, if you just plan it and go in and charge when the battery's warm, you'll get closer to those faster speeds. Okay, so we've added 50% from 20 to 70% in 29 minutes. So, half an hour to add a 50% in a less typical kind of worst case type of charging. I mean, not absolute worst case, which would be like in minus 30 degrees or something like that, Celsius, but a typical case where it is cool out, 5 degrees, and you forgot to charge when the battery was warm when your last trip, and you come in, and we're probably going to hit about 51% in there, 51% of our range added, up to 71% in half an hour, and that's 70% of around 500 kilometer rated range. The newer Model 3s are rated 568 kilometer, something like that, or so 71% of that. And then when it's cooler out, maybe you get 20-30% lower than that when you have to heat and if the roads are wet or whatever. So it's plenty enough to do a typical day's worth of driving, quite a lot of driving. So I'm gonna get headed out now. I've been here about half an hour and I've up to 72%, and so I'm gonna get going now. I have enough, and so that's what you could expect if you don't have access to charging. It cost me 20 bucks Canadian for this to add 52%, and again, that's probably the most expensive form of charging there is supercharging. Anyway, so now you know. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.